And here we are. After slowly going through all the classic Mega Man games, we're finally at the newest game in the series. After Mighty No. 9 bombed, Capcom saw all the attention it got and thought, hey, we like money. You still like Mega Man. Let's do what that other game did, except do it well. Mega Man 11. Buy it. The Mighty No. 9 inspiration is really cool to see though. And they got the 3D art style down, and the different weapons even give you a new costume based on the Robot Master instead of a color swap, just like what Mighty did. That's damn cool to see them trying to improve the games instead of just sticking to what they know works. I first played 11 when it came out back in early October, and since then I've played all the other classic games, so I'm curious to see how this one stacks up for me. Before this marathon, 11 was my favorite classic game, and then I played 7. Speaking of that game, it turns out the Thunderbolt can be used to light up those dark sections in Shade Man stage. I didn't know that when I played it, but I like 7 a little more than I did before. Anyway, I've got one final game to look at for this Mega Man marathon, so let's finish this beast of a project. Wily tries to take over the world. Again. Mega Man says, hey, don't. And then Mega Man defeats him, although there's a little more to it for once. It turns out that Light and Wily were friends before becoming mortal enemies. They had a falling out after Wily's plan for the evolution of robots was rejected in favor of Light's. Wily proposed a double gear system that allowed robots to increase their capabilities even further, while Light wanted to give them independent thought. Yeah, makes sense whose plan they went with. Wily has a dream that makes him remember this gear system and proceeds to kidnap 8 of Light's new robots to make use of it. Mega Man is equipped with this system himself, and the rest is pretty self-explanatory. Cutscenes this time bring back voice acting, and it's actually good? What the hell? It won't win any awards, but it feels weird to have legitimately good voice acting in a series that gave us gold like these.
We may be able to locate another energy emission from the radar room. When we find that meteor, we'll find Dr. Wily.
No, this isn't happening! There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
Who said anything about leaving you? You're my booty and my friend!
Mega Man ZX Advent is a good game, I swear. And it's probably just me, but I have played too much Persona to hear roles anyone but Futaba. I half expected her to say witty one-liners when I had a boss with a weakness weapon.
Bonafide Megabyte!
Also, everyone calls Mega Man Mega for some reason. Is that a subtle Star Force nod? I doubt it, no one remembers Star Force. But they did use a Star Force outfit for the Tundra Storm before they made the final outfit. I kinda wish they had this as an unlockable costume or something. Slides and short shots are back, thank god. Rush Coil and Rush Jet have hotkeys now as well, although they both take up the same ammo gauge, so that's one way to balance it I guess, but it's not a huge deal. Allowing the accessing Rush easier, you can access your main weapons easier than ever as well. No need to cycle through them all like some Neanderthal, but you can just use the right stick instead. Using the weapon wheel, you can easily cycle through your weapons, and they're even in the same order as on the boss select screen. Clicking the right stick puts you back to normal. Damn, this is probably the best thing they could have come up with. You can of course use past methods to switch weapons, but this is so much faster and simpler. There were a lot of points in the past where I thought, this would be a good place to use this weapon, but I'm lazy and don't want to interrupt the flow of the game, so... But with this weapon wheel, it's so quick and easy to swap between them that you have no reason not to most of the time. And then we have the main new mechanic of 11, the double gear system. At any time, you can shift gears to either speed gear or power gear. Speed gear slows down time and lets you react to incoming obstacles, while power gear makes your buster shots more powerful. But if the gear meter gets full, you can't use either until the meter completely drains. Speed gear is the better of the two, simply because you can use it in most situations. If the platforming's tough or the enemies are too much to handle, just slow it down. And when you buy the upgrade that lets you move at normal speed doing this, it's borderline overpowered. Everything just becomes a lot easier when you master speed gear, and it's just plain satisfying to rush through everything like you unlocked Ultra Instinct or something. I don't watch Dragon Ball, I hope I made that reference right. It's like the only metaphor I could come up with, okay? Power gear is still really good too. You'd be forgiven for thinking that it was kinda useless, and I'd agree with you that it's useless with a standard buster. You get more powerful charge shots, but it depletes your charge when you enter, while speed gear does not. Just from slowing down time, speed gear overall lets you do much more damage with a standard buster. But power gear also powers up your special weapons, which is where power gear really shines. Just press ZL before firing off a shot and it's suddenly way more powerful than it would be otherwise. I don't think it uses more weapon energy either, so power gear just gives you more powered weapons at little cost. When you're low on health, you can enter a double gear state that lets you use both gears at once, but I never found a use for it. Not to mention that you'll go into a weaker state after using it. Nice idea, but not overly useful. Double gear as a whole is exactly what this game needed though. It adds this whole new layer of resource management that makes the game much easier when you learn to master it. The stages are pretty standard this time. While they all design well, nothing particularly sticks out either. I do like the different aesthetic choices, like Torchman being some Native American camp or something that gets set on fire, Blockman is some weird-ass Aztec temple, and I really liked Blastman's Michael Bay amusement park. I also like how that if you bring in the boss's weakness weapon, you can usually destroy some kind of obstacle on the stage. Who knew rubber balls was so good at destroying electrical equipment? Oh, and being able to instantly freeze a wall of fire just by blowing some Arctic wind this way? Like, damn, okay, that really helps actually. You can sometimes do this in the Fusa Mega Man, like using the rolling cutter to get rid of these little spine enemies, but it's used much more here. I thought Acid Man's stage had too many spikes though, like, my god, some of these jumps are way too close for comfort. Same with Torchman stage, these firewall sections need a little too much precision sometimes, even with Speed Gear and Thunderstorm. They're not impossible mind you, but it feels like they overdid this one. But that's kind of my main issue with 11, these stages are too long. When you play on normal, you have to get through these long stages that take like 8 to 10 minutes with 2 extra lives and pretty infrequent checkpoints. The normal difficulty just makes everything a slog to go through. I played on casual my first time and felt that difficulty was much more enjoyable. Like, if the stages are long, you need more lives and checkpoints to compensate. Needing to replay a long stage like this just feels like you're disrespecting the player's time. It just bogs the game down, really. The weapons are luckily pretty good in this one, just about every weapon has its use. Block Driver is good for enemies above you, Torch is good for enemies at awkward angles, Scramble Thunder is good for enemies along walls and ceilings, Bounce Ball is just good at attacking everything, like seriously. The standard best weapon has been the likes of giant saw blades, ninja stores, and laser tridents, but this time, it's a bunch of bouncy balls of death. The most practical weapon is the Pile Driver, and to think they already called him Impact Man. It's a standard attack along the ground, but it acts as an air dash too. Like I said before, these weapons get much better with Power Gear. Block Driver drops a barrage of blocks, Scramble Thunder passes through enemies, Thunderstorm becomes a screen nuke, and Acid Barrier becomes one of the best barriers in the series. It deflects projectiles, burns through enemies, and it has its own acid shot. Combine these weapons with stuff you can buy from the shop, and you can really tear your way through this game. It can make you Buster more powerful, move at normal speed during Speed Gear, and you not only have an energy balancer, but you can upgrade it a second time to give energy to every weapon at once, like, Jesus. The shop items aren't too expensive either. This is the kind of difficulty I like. The game is overall pretty middle of the road compared to other Mega Man games, but there's a ton of stuff in the shop to make things easier, and you don't have to use the double gear system either. It's just there to make the game easier should you take the time to get better at it. When it comes to Mega Man's difficulty, I like the challenge, but I don't like it when they get needlessly cheap either. I'd say the good middle grounds of the series are Mega Man X, 7, and 11 on casual. On the contrary, 3, 9, and base felt too hard. 11 on normal leans more towards cheap from long levels with few checkpoints, but the option is there for more comfortable difficulties, so I can't fault it too much. Maybe what's comfortable for me is too easy for someone else. But hey, at least 11 lets you choose, so it's a win for everyone. The Wily stages were pretty meh this time though. There was only 2 full stages this time, with stage 3 being a boss rush, and stage 4 more or less being an elevator ride to the very easy final boss. The 2 stages that are there just feel so standard. Like there's nothing wrong with them, but they're just kind of there. Oh, and you have to fight the Yellow Devil again, which is just oh so fun. Although I have to admit, it's pretty clever that they encourage you to use Speed Gear to avoid his attacks. The only other thing to really mention this time is how weak the soundtrack is. It doesn't sound bad, but I honestly can't remember a single track from this game other than the title screen. Electronic isn't a bad choice for this series, but the music in this game just isn't catchy or memorable. Say what you want about Mighty No. 9, but it had the same style of music and it had a great soundtrack, albeit very quiet during gameplay. There was an optional instrumental soundtrack you can download, but that one isn't much better. The music is 11's only real issue. Otherwise, this game is great. It's not a very groundbreaking entry, but 11 shows an effort at moving the series forward, which is what 9 and 10 were desperately missing. Even after replaying it, I'd say it's still my second favorite classic game. 11 is a bit easier than other games, but there's next to no instances of aged game design here. This feels like a Mega Man game brought into the modern age, which is what this series needed. If they ever make a Mega Man 12, I hope they do something a little different. I don't know, maybe a bigger emphasis on playable characters or a more complex story or something. But for the next Mega Man game, I'd much rather see either an X9 or a sequel to ZX Advent. Those games still have loose ends all these years later. Tie those up first before we see a Mega Man 12. But yeah, 11 was a great time. I think $30 digitally is kinda steep, but $30 physical is totally justified in my opinion. That's not an issue anymore though. You can get it for like 15 to 20 bucks on Amazon nowadays. All 4 versions are basically the same too, other than a few small graphical differences. Next up in the Mega Man Marathon is... wait, I'm finally done? Oh my god, has this been a long time coming. I started this series in late October, and it's now late June by the time this video goes up. It's been fun playing, talking about these games, but as a casual fan, I think I might have overdosed on this series. I love me some Mega Man, but this has been a bit creatively draining for me. I'd like to just move on to something else at this point. I don't mean to paint these games in a negative light. These are some great games and a worth through time, but they're similar enough that doing a video series like this can drive you a bit crazy. I'm sure I'll do the other games in this franchise eventually, but that's probably not for another few years at least. Oh, and if anyone wanted to see them ranked, here's a tier list, I guess. That's what the kids are doing these days, right? This is probably just an outdated meme at this point. With all that said, this has been Flame Guy, and next time, I'm doing something, but it definitely ain't Mega Man. Take care, and I'll see you all next mission.